try to... Well, yesterday's video, Raj, was 1 hour and 7. Okay. And record has been pressed. Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, I just got back from the washroom up in Raj's middle floor here, and there was newspaper clippings on top of the washing machine. As I was walking through the house, I saw clippings here, clippings there. The whole house has now been scattered with the Mirami-histor-chi. Raj is right into it. But that video that you just saw there, I'm sorry for the bad camera work, but I was driving through Logieville, our little village, on the Miramichi today. I was listening. That song that you heard is called the Logieville Two-Step by our Logieville's greatest artist of all time, Matilda Murdoch. And it's a beautiful tune. We used to dance to it as kids. And it's funny because Roger, right on the top of this stack today, has this photo right here. Okay? Now, there's Donnie Ross. He was coaching this this is an elementary group, elementary school girls from Logieville back in 1987, and the tall girl here, Dawn Marie, just in the mail sent me 2 CDs. Her grandmother is the greatest artist in Logieville's history, Matilda Murdoch, and Dawn wrote me a handwritten letter telling me about the music, and I was requesting the music, and so that's what I was playing. So on this team, we have, and sorry, Raj, good morning, good afternoon. So on this team, we had Donnie Ross as the coach, Tina McClanagan, Amy Savoy, Dawn Marie Kingston, I just mentioned, Lana Como, that is my sister, I'll show you her in a second, Christina Murray, Krista Rashore, Lorianne Kelly, Bev Sullivan, Marcia Manderson, and missing was Angie Olson. And there they are, folks. Did they win something? Logieville captures hoop title. They won the little elementary mini girls basketball team. They won their division that year in 1987. There's my sister Lana, and there's Dawn Marie, and that group right there. Congratulations, girls. So Roger Como, the local historian, has documented decades and decades of Miramichi's history and the surrounding area via mostly newspaper clippings. And this is episode, I think we're on 15, Raj. Yesterday was 1 hour and 7 minutes, and we're doing it for ourselves.
That's Peter's daughter, right?
Oh, Peter Manderson?
Peter and Marcia. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Raj just points out Peter Manderson, the former owner of Manderson's KOA down there, the campground. That's Marcia, his daughter. And, yeah, it's, and Parker. Parker was the owner. Peter was the son. Peter was a former softball pitcher. I think Peter played hockey as well.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that's Marcia. So I hope Marcia's doing well these days. Yeah.
Okay, we're going to do, you want to do that, or? Or we'll do this here.
Yeah, we'll save that for
Chatham
okay.
High school athletes.
And I think we mentioned it last time, but here's another article. 1987, James M. Hill, Athletes of the Year, Natalie Fowley, and John Corlett. And John Corlett was a well-rounded. He grew up out in Appin. I had his father as a teacher, Bob Corlett. I really enjoyed Bob. But yeah, John Corlett was an excellent athlete. I think he was soccer, baseball, and basketball, and he played a little bit of softball when he was older after high school here in Logieville with the boys. He had some friends.
Yeah. So on the same celebration that night, there's two other athletes here.
Right.
And Heather Remner.
Okay. So during that awards ceremony, 1987, this looks like a James M. Hill crowd. That's John Corlett again, right here. But we have Brad Campbell. He was the most valuable player for the Tommies in hockey, and he was awarded the Eddie McDonald Memorial Award. Now, Eddie was a local Logieville boy that was in a car accident out by Bay de Vin, or
Black River.
Black River, and he used to play hockey and sports. So that was sad. So I think they must have named the award after him. Natalie Fowley was the female athlete of the year once again. It was Josh Corlett. And Heather Bremner, she was for outstanding student leadership. Heather Bremner, right here, she was a Nappin girl. These are both Nap. They grew up really close to each other, actually. And her sister used to hang out with my sister, the Bremner girls. They all look alike, and they were just very, very pretty, nice women. I saw Carla at my dad's funeral, actually.
This is a local boy here.
Oh, yeah?
Logieville.
Okay, and sticking with all things Logieville. See this? Look at this photo right here. This young man, at the time, grew up very close to where we're sitting right now. His name was Kenny Absalom, and he comes from a really good family, and they were actually at my dad's funeral as well. Ken Absalom of James M. Hill Memorial High School placed second Saturday in the junior boys 100-meter hurdle of the Northern Zone High School meet. It was held at Memorial Field in Newcastle, and once again, Brian Richard, our local newspaper guy that covered so many sports and did such a great job covering them for many years, took the photo. So what a great action shot. There it is.
Okay, this is Wicked Athletes here.
Okay.
Here
so Roger pointed this one out to me today. Like, you know, Raj, we're guys that, you know, I'm kind of guilty. I like the mainstream hockey, baseball, and, you know, I know you do as well. But Raj has taken it upon himself, guys, over the years to document all these things over the years. And, you know, Roger does have a good array and has acknowledged everybody's achievements. So in a community such as the Miramichi, which is not very big, there's many people doing many different things, and they all should be honored. Now, here's something right now, because we're always talking Hall of Fames and who's in the Sports Wall of Fame and stuff. Well, look at this right here, okay? This guy here, husband and wife team, tops in Canada, okay? There's an action shot, archers, the bow and arrow. Robin Hood was their #1 inspiration. Archer George Muir is on top, and his goal over the next few years is to stay on top. And Rona, his wife, is on top too, but she wants to set more records, go higher, as there's really no end to all kinds of records that can be set. George agrees. Now, at the Canadian Amateur Archery Championships last week in Trois-Rivières, and this was from July 29th, 1987, Trois-Rivières, Quebec, George captured 4 gold medals and 1 silver, while Rona was close behind with 3 gold and 2 silver. So we have 2 Miramichiers that won gold national medals in archery, and, you know, nowadays most people would never hear of such a thing because the newspaper business has, you know, dwindled down. Everybody's on the internet and stuff like that, but that's a really excellent thing to acknowledge.
Husband and wife.
Yeah, husband and wife. So right on. And I'm sure there was times where, Raj, they'd like to point those things at each other over the years.
I talked to George, and it's a shame that the sporting section of the whole Miramichi never paid attention to the achievements that this team have accomplished in their careers and not their sport.
Yeah, well, good for them. No, but I was just making the joke that I'm sure there's many times over the years where they would have wanted to point those bow and arrows at each other. Yeah. Okay, what do you got here, Raul?
Okay, well, before we go to the kids again, we're gonna show something that occurs on the river here quite a bit with the icebreaker.
Okay, so our river, we're right on the bay here, the Northumberland Strait. We're close to the bay. The bay is just right where I'm pointing up to the northeast there, and it freezes over all winter. And we and Roger were talking yesterday, like the mild temperatures this season, the river, there's right out in front of us right now, we can see blue water, and that's very, very early. But usually, in order for ships to get in and out in the wintertime, these weapons right here are required, the icebreaker. And I remember as children, I remember as a kid, waiting for those things and watching them do their work, right?
Oh yeah, they'd have to stop and back up.
Yeah.
And do a lot of ramming to get through.
To get through the ice. New kid on the block. The Canadian Coast Guard icebreaker Earl Grey, the newest vessel in the Coast Guard's Atlantic Region fleet, docked Friday at Newcastle for a break from icebreaking duties on the Miramichi River. Her skipper says the $33 million vessel has more than proved herself during her recent assignment. And there you are, folks. Earl Grey, the icebreaker, docked in Newcastle, taking a break. They went into the Black Horse. They were supposed to stay for 1. They ended up staying for 5 or 6, and they had to park her for a while.
So here's the captain with his own miniature model.
Oh, wow.
Of the Earl Grey.
Okay. So, of that ship that we just mentioned, the Earl Grey, here's the captain standing with a model of said ship. Really cool, Raj. Captain Adrian Dubé and his Earl Grey model. Right on. Yeah. Excellent work documenting.
87.
So yesterday on a video we showed a photo of Bubs DePlacy, a fireman, and I mentioned that I knew his daughter, and it just so happens that through that video I actually connected with his daughter after 15 or 20 years, and I just had a conversation with her, and she thanked me, and she had a good, she said it brought back a good memory for her. So that was, this has been a good connecting thing for me as I've been home on the Miramichi. So what do we got here, Raj?
A bunch of kids here in Logieville 37 years ago, how they were honored and the sports activities that they were engaged in from the school.
Okay, so from the Logieville Elementary School. Bunch of kids, sports day, winning some trophies. Right on. There they are. 37 years ago. Ronnie Murdoch, he's still around. Jeff Stymus Zimmer, great person, great athlete. Andrea Richor and Krista Richor. We have RJ Forbes, Mike Potter, Faye McCormick, Timmy Ross, and Krista Logie. We have Corey Savoy, Elizabeth Savoy, Brent Jenkins, Mark Savoy, and Bobby Joe Savoy. Lots of Savoys there. And we have Craig McCormick, Peter and Gary McDonald, Stacy Savoy, and Tina McClanagan. And I'm just going to point out these... okay, where's Peter and Gary? Okay, so right there. Peter McDonald and Gary McDonald. Now, their father was Roy McDonald from the Knappen family, and Wendy was their mother. And I grew up with these kids, and they were really capable. Their father was building speedboats, fiberglass speedboats in Logieville. He had his shop set up. They left in 1994 after Peter graduated high school and moved to Salt Lake City. So just recently, in October, I drove from Vancouver to the Mississippi River all through America, and I camped it. I was driving out there to meet an artist that I've been in contact with, and I was going to spend a week with him, and we took a bunch of kids out onto the river. But when I was driving through Salt Lake City, I was about 2 hours from Salt Lake City, and I made a phone call back into the Miramichi here to get their phone number. And somebody had Gary McDonald's phone number. And I phoned him right up, and I was like, this is Jamie Como. I'm 2 hours outside of Salt Lake City. Let's have a cup of coffee. And he was like, wow. He was very surprised. I haven't seen them since 1994. And I went into his operation in Salt Lake City. He's a metal fabricator now. And what an impressive operation he has, Raj. Yeah. He is doing very well. They are fabricating furniture for Facebook. It was a massive operation, and Gary had his mother and father still working for him and one of his brothers. So they kept it a family affair, very talented family, and it was great to see them.
Well, this is a program here for the Irish Festival that the local paper has produced.
Okay.
It's just the whole schedule and all the acts that were brought in to
come in.
Yeah.
July 15th, 1987. Welcome to the Miramichi for Canada's Irish Festival. This is one of our biggest events. You know, this whole little booklet right here was dedicated to the Irish Festival, and it just goes to show you how different times were, how things were being documented. It was really excellent. You know, and it shows all the acts. And Raj and I had mentioned earlier that, you know, the Irish Festival has died off in certain years, but you know, at the heyday, the 80s and 90s, it was a real good time, very busy. There's a great photo of some Celtic dancers, some Irish dancers right there. And those young women at the time, that's Maureen McCarthy and Bernadette O'Donnellan, prepare to perform an Irish dance for visitors at the opening ceremonies. Great photo, and I love watching that Irish dancing. It's so beautiful. But again, mint condition, thanks to our local historian, Roger Como.
So now we have a really impressive center hall again of the Folk Song Festival events and Chatham Head Days, and really a lot of nice the parade and the nice photographs of Logie Miller, Bobby Langtang, and his mother.
Oh, right on.
Eleanor Langtang from
Cool.
Roosevelt. And they're just that's just it. And right here there's some nice
okay.
No, nothing after that.
Okay. This is some more. I want to show that photo there. Yeah, like this is some more. Okay, so again, this is from July 24th, 87, and another page, another inset into the main paper, and this was showcasing the Folk Song Festival. That photo right there, Vivian and Ivan Hicks. And it just goes to show you how much coverage, and this is how people were getting their information. But there's also information in here about the, there's a popular performer, Pat Roper, the Folk Song Festival. Raj, have you been to the Folk Song Festival lately?
No, just you just walk through town, walk along the streets there, and just see how.
Check it out.
You always run into people you know, and
right on.
Be part of the crowd.
And this is from that Irish festival, not the folk song, but the Irish festival that we just mentioned. There's a young person I recognize. Her name was Tanya Atkinson. She was older than I was, but you know, that's her in 1987 at the Irish festival. And you know, Tanya was always such an elegant looking person, and you know, she grew up and became a very beautiful woman, very nice person. I never really knew her, but I always had a good impression of her. So that's a good photo from Tanya Atkinson in 1987.
Yeah. So this is part of the Irish festival. These young peewees here captured Irish festival of the peewee.
Mosquito. Okay.
And there's a lot of well-known here with David McGregor and Walter coaching these young kids. Okay.
This is a baseball team that is actually a Mosquito team, the youngsters, and they had a baseball tournament in conjunction with the Irish Festival that year, and there's your championship team, and I will read out some roster names on that one. We have Kyle Ogilvie. We used to call him Ogie. He was a good little ball player. Andrew Bell, very good little athlete, and Andrew went on, I think, to work in the tech sector and has done very well for himself. So good for you, Andrew. Kevin McCarthy, the son of Marvin. Shane McGregor, that's his father was the coach David. Shane and I hung out a lot. Shane was a good little athlete, a very capable and smart person. Brian Morris, son of Greg Morris. Brian, also a very smart and capable person, loved his sports. And I think he's in Ottawa, and he was working with an NHL team, the Senators, for a while. I don't know what he's doing now. Timmy McIntosh, haven't heard that name in a long time. He was a good pitcher as a kid. He always was able to throw strikes, a good ball player, a good guy. Troy Godfrey, friend of mine, one of the top athletes in our city here, and the fastest man around. And Greg Williston, the son of Willis. In the back row, we have Dave McGregor, the coach. Paddy Quinn, folks, the legendary Paddy Quinn. Brian Harriman, mentioned him last week. He was a hockey player, defenseman as well. Dustin Carroll used to play. He was a good ball player, good athlete, good goaltender, good guy. Dave McDonald, another great guy. He went on to play some really high-level hockey. I think he works on heavy machinery, or big, yeah, like something like that. Kevin Sullivan, MVP and top pitcher of the tournament. Sully was a friend of mine. He was a really excellent pitcher as a kid. Dane Hambrook. He didn't play baseball later on in his life, but he's also a good friend of mine. Timmy Russell, excellent outfielder throughout his career. Chris McCarthy and Walter McCarthy. Chris and Kevin McCarthy on this team were twin brothers and the sons of Marvin. So I knew every name in that list. So that's rare. And I am a Logieviller, and that was a bunch of Chatham boys.
Okay. Now here's Little Miss Canada Days.
Oh, wow.
And the winner is Jennifer Barry.
Okay.
It's the daughter of Peter Barry.
Okay.
And Alicia Henry is the daughter, second princess of John Henry.
Okay.
And this young lady in the second princess over
Stephanie
here
Obey.
is Stephanie Obey.
Okay.
Nice little picture of those kids.
There it is. This is from Miss Canada Day is 1987. This is when pageantry was still happening kind of in the society. I think it still is in places like Texas and stuff like that for children. But here's some cute little girls doing a little pageant back in 1987. Jennifer Barry is the new Little Miss Canada Days 1987 on the second. On the left is second princess Alicia Henry, and Stephanie Obey Wright is the first princess.
Okay, so now anybody that's not too familiar with Timothy,
Okay.
well, you can read the whole thing.
Yeah, what is Timothy's a crop?
Something
It's a grain or a
kind of
grass.
a hay.
Yeah.
So-
Okay. So here's a photo from out in Nappen. Okay, you see those lines right there? That's a grain or a grass. It's called Timothy. I don't know much about it. And once again, Raj and I are not pretending to be experts. We're going through this casually. And there's going to be lots of mistakes, so let's keep it all cool there, folks. Everard McLean of Black River stands with 2 stalks of Timothy that he took from a field cultivated by Norman Glendenning of Black River. Ideal weather conditions have produced bumper crops of hay this summer. Mr. McLean says this was the tallest Timothy he'd ever seen. Well, there you go.
Okay. And this is what I'm playing up there in Chatham.
Okay.
Had an official opening.
So this, okay, so anybody in the Miramichi that's been around for a while is going to recognize this place right here. This is over near England's Hollow, Middle Island, just coming into Chatham along that shore road there.
We always call it the steam plant.
The steam plant, Roger says, is what people called it. And it's NB Power's Chatham Generating Station is a Canada demonstration facility for circulating fluidized bed combustion. So if anybody knows what that means, because I don't, next time you see Roger out in the yard picking up Winnie's dog poop, you just let him know what that means. This developing technology uses low-grade fuels to produce electricity while reducing acid gas emissions. So Raj, you know how successful this project was? It's tore down right now, so it's not that successful.
Yeah.
So it seemed to me like it didn't really work out. There's an overhead of it right here. I used to drive by as a kid looking at it. It looked dirty. It looked like it was, you know, an eyesore in many ways, and it was abandoned, and I don't think it really lasted long. So I'm sure somebody out there knows the story on it.
Well, they featured...
But it brought in some workers, and these folks, Chatham thermal plant employees. Look at how the local newspaper covered the community. It let everybody know who was doing what, who was doing their load of whitewash that day, hanging out, and who was doing their coloreds. Everybody knew what everybody's doing thanks to the local newspaper. Joe Young, Sandra Savoy, Kim Nallen, Leon Ross, Kirk Ross, Donald Ahern, Joe Innes, Richard Young, Robert Foran, Daryl Saunders, William O'Donnell, Ann Matthews, and Alan Austin worked at that plant.
Okay, so now we're going to swing over to the Miramichi exhibition.
Yes.
And we'll just show what the program was like. And
Okay.
We're going to go into an event here that was pretty interesting.
Okay, so this is another special edition. This is 1987's Miramichi Agricultural Exhibition And, you know, of course, on the paper, these were the ladies that were vying for Miss Miramichi. And I'll get a close-up of some of those pretty faces right there. I might as well just read them out. Or are we going to go through it a little bit later here? So we had Andrea Keating. We had Linda Gallant and Elizabeth Martin. Vicky Mountain, Stacey Hogan, Carla McLean, Jeanette Manuel, Sylvia McIntyre, Christine Williston, Bev Green, Brenda Harris, Heather McClanagan, Aline Doucette, Julia Nicholson, Jennifer Harris, Carol Hashey, and Heather Bremner. And you know, these young ladies right here, times are very different. I doubt you would be able to get a lineup like that in today's age. All the social media, everybody showing all these pictures and stuff like that. But at this time, people put themselves out there. They did a pageant. People were interested. They went to watch it. And any man on the Miramichi that was lucky enough to date one of these girls, they were walking around proud that summer, let me tell you.
Yeah. So in the other room,
okay,
we have the other guys.
Oh yeah.
This was last year's right there.
That was the Mr.
Yeah.
So those were the ladies, and then it was about 5 or 6 dudes. Oh yeah.
There they are there.
So we mentioned this the other day, Mr. Thrill of a Lifetime. Like, look at this. Again, these guys, you know, they were getting pushed by their buddies, and their mother was like, you should go in that. You're handsome. You're going to win that thing. So these guys are looking in the mirror, taking their shirts off. They were just like, oh, my God, you know what? I think that I am the best-looking guy in the Miramichi, and I'm going to put myself into a contest that's called the Thrill of a Lifetime. The Mr. Thrill of a Lifetime. The contestants were Rodney Mountain, Paul Savoy, Andrew McLaughlin, Daniel Belanger, and Regent Thibodeau. So, hey, listen, folks, you know, am I making fun of it? A little bit, and things like this, you know, we got to have a good chuckle at that. Look at those guys right there, folks. Mr. Thrill of a Lifetime. And unlike the ladies, any girl that was dating these guys were kind of walking around with their head down embarrassed. They didn't want to be associated with those guys. I'm just joking, boys.
So one of the big events here is the Miramichi celebrity milking contest.
Okay.
And then this is the people that enter it.
Okay.
And we're going to show a photo of the winner.
Okay, so they used to have a milking contest. It's an agricultural exhibition. So we had some dairy cows that were in behind all the rides there. And the celebrity contest had Hazen Myers. He was the Minister of Agriculture. Paul Dawson, the Minister of Income Assistance. And just a side note, we initially mentioned Dawn Marie Kingston, the granddaughter of Logieville's greatest artist, Matilda Murdoch. Anyway, Dawn Kingston sent me Matilda's music. Her husband is Paul Dawson's son, Tommy. And then we have Frank McKenna, the leader of the opposition. Well, we're going to soon show you that he was no longer opposition in 1987. We had Bud Jardine. He was a local MP. Rupert Bernard was the mayor of Chatham. John McKay was the mayor of Newcastle. And we're still waiting. They were still waiting on word if Richard Hatfield was going to show up to milk some udders.
Okay, so now
so we got some. Roger has documented the photographs and has saved those of said contest. And who do we got here?
First of all, Rupert was trying his best.
So the mayor of Chatham in 1987, Rupert Bernard. And Rupert was a great guy. Like, he was an easy guy to approach. He was in it for the right reasons. And there he is with his dairy cow hat, and he's getting his hands dirty in there. And that just says that Mayor Rupert Bernard gives it a good effort during Monday night's celebrity milking contest at the Miramichi exhibition. We're going to get to who the winner was. Is this your last one?
Yeah.
Okay, folks, we're going to show you this fine gentleman right here. Frank McKenna, the sharp and focused and distinguished Frank McKenna. He ended up being the winner of the milking contest. There is his celebrity trophy. But just look at, like, again, how a local newspaper was documenting all these things. People were interested. And then Frank McKenna, you know, we've gone through several episodes here, Raj, and Frank McKenna was putting himself out there in a humorous way too. Like, he was not afraid to just mix with the people and enter these contests and embarrass himself, right? Oh. So Frank McKenna, MLA for Chatham, proved himself as an excellent milker at the Celebrity Milking Contest held in conjunction with the opening of the Miramichi exhibition. He squeezed out 6.5 pounds of milk in 4 minutes. And why not just mention, we showed the ladies that were running for that pageant. Well, there's a photo of the winners, okay? Now, who did we have here? We had Christine Williston. She's the new Miss Miramichi. And again, when you win the Miss Miramichi, the next day, are you just walking around town with your crown on? Like, are you just like, you know? The others in the royal court are Heather Bremner from Nappen. And those Bremner girls are always very pretty girls. First princess was Linda Gallant, and the second princess and Miss Talent, second from left, was Aline Doucette. So, right on, Frank McKenna, the winner of the milking contest.
Name her.
Oh, and it was Marion Fitzpatrick. She was chairman of the exhibition committee. So, Marion Fitzpatrick, she was the one that was presenting Frank McKenna with the trophy. And once again, folks, community was covered. Everybody was paying attention to the Miramichi leader, and they were doing such a great job of documenting the day-to-day events in our community.
So,
the Thompsons?
Do we need to
No, like, it's actually, you know, I don't know where to go with that. It's just, you know, here, okay, yeah, I'll show.
Well,
so
they have a name for their firm there. Hey.
Okay, so the Thompson family from Nappen, they were very, very prevalent in the agricultural exhibition. And, you know, they had a family, you know, there was Kirk Thompson, Krista Thompson. They played sports. They were always involved with animals in the agriculture sector. And, okay, so Way Joy Farm, owned by the Thompsons, is well known on the Miramichi for its short...
Yeah, it's Wayne and Joyce.
Okay. So it was well known on the Miramichi for its shorthorn cattle. And I remember those children. I never really had a close relationship with any of them, but I do remember that they were always around, and they were always very capable in doing things. I'm sure they've gone on to do some good things. But here is some young, like, you know, this is a family that was growing up on a farm, and the children were highly involved. They were doing things. They knew how to work with their hands. You know, I'm sure they were taught the merits of hard work, getting up early, learning how to do things. Kirk Thompson watches his sister Krista color a poster. Kyle Thompson with a pigeon. Karen and Krista Thompson making a dress for exhibition, and Colleen Thompson making a cake for exhibition. So the children were all heavily involved, and it'd be very interesting to revisit that family right now to see what has become of them. I remember them.
Their farm back there is very popular for the whole Miramichi community, as they bus school kids along the road to see all their.
Oh yeah, they had a petting farm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they had like little goats and donkeys, and the children of the Miramichi. Yeah, yeah, that's right. I remember as a student going out there for a day trip, and children were able to be exposed to animals and do maybe a little bit of riding on like a pony or something like that.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah, right on, Raj. So thanks for sharing that.
We'll probably do a little time out here for a second.
Little time out. We gotta go stretch our legs. We'll see you guys in a couple of seconds. And we're back. Amanda, the artist of this up here, who is of that man, the local historian right here, her dog Winnie, just wanted to get outside. So Winnie is now outside, and we're just gonna finish off here. Well, here's something right here. This is actually a great photo, and it kind of looks like it, you know, this could be from anywhere around the world, you know, a couple of people, there's a plaque ceremony. somebody's being celebrated. You got umbrellas on each side. It's a really, really excellent photo. I really like that photo. And what does it read? It reads, the Manny Monument unveiled. Inspecting the monument unveiled in Newcastle Monday to honor Dr. Louise Manny are from left Dr. Sandy Ives, Marie Hare, Alan Kelly, and Dr. J.R. Wilson. Dr. Manny was a noted historian, just like Roger Como here, author, and founder of the Miramichi Folk Song Festival. She died in 1970, and this week's festival is the 30th annual event. So in 1987, the festival celebrated its 30th year. So this woman, Dr. Manny, founded it, and the first one was in 1957. And like I say, in order to have events, all you gotta do is try organizing a dinner party with 4 couples to see how difficult it is to organize something. And when people put their time and effort into doing things, rather than first criticize, try to acknowledge that it takes time and effort to do such a thing. And then here is the cover of our local TV listings guide that used to come in the Miramichi Leader. And yes, you young folks that are watching this, when we were kids, in order to know what was coming on television, we had a booklet full of pages, Monday, Tuesday night, folks, or, you know, or Thursday night, The Cosby Show on at 8:30. You have to go through with your finger to see what was going on. And here is the late Dr. Louise Manny, librarian and historian, so her and Roger have something in common. They're both historians. Founded the Miramichi Folk Song Festival in 1957. So that was a great photo of her. She was on the cover of the local TV listings guide at that time. And like I say, it takes so much effort to organize these things, and these people do deserve to be celebrated and acknowledged. Here's a great photo, Raj, and I know Roger loves this because Roger, we're going to get into some of his dancing feats, but Roger was a performing artist on the Miramichi here, doing some shows over the years, and this guy is in full stepping mode. I actually have a pair of tap shoes, Raj, out in Vancouver. I started to take a class, and I couldn't follow the structure. Okay, 1, 2. I needed it to be a little bit more free-flowing, and she was getting frustrated with me, so I was just like, you know what? Yeah. I just stopped going. High stepper. Francis Taylor of Nordine displayed his prowess at traditional step dancing earlier this week at the Miramichi Folk Song Festival in Newcastle, celebrating its 30th year. The festival concludes on Friday. This is from August 6, 1987. Francis Taylor in action. And Francis, I don't know if you're still with us, but if you do see this video, I hope that you're still dancing.
Okay, we're going to do a little coverage here on Spring Hill Songbird and Murray.
Okay.
We can skip through that. That'll be it right there. If you just tell what's going
on. This is not like necessarily Miramichi, but this woman here comes just a few hours from a drive from the Miramichi. She is Canada's, Nova Scotia's own, Spring Hill's own, Canada's own Mrs. Anne Murray. And she is a wonderful voice, a wonderful singer, and she has gained international recognition for her beautiful voice. And the small town that gave the entertainment world one of the best-known female voices received something in return Friday. The gold record for Snowbird, for starters. Singer Anne Murray presented the 1970 record for the song that launched her to stardom as the first artifact for the new Anne Murray Center in Spring Hill, Nova Scotia. And it is a pleasure and a privilege to make any contribution I can to a community that has played such an important part in my life, said Murray, whose late father was a town doctor. So congratulations, Anne. You have been a classy performer for many years, and we're proud to have you as an East Coast maritime girl. I remember Anne Murray one time. I was watching Hockey Night in Canada. They had her on in between periods, okay? And they were interviewing her, and it was Bob Cole and Harry Neal up in the booth. Yep. And Anne Murray said, you know what I hate? She goes, I hate when somebody scores a goal and the PA announcer is announcing it for the whole building. First goal scored by number 10, Guy Lafleur. And the announcer on television starts talking over that. She said, let the person announce it, let the viewers on TV hear it. And I remember the next goal,
Yeah.
they did. So I remember that.
Yeah.
Anne Murray.
Okay. Next in Anne Murray is Derek Sanderson.
Okay. This is from June 1st, 1987. I remember being a kid in grade 4 or 5 at the Loganville Elementary School, and the older class, grade 6 and 5 or something like that, they went to the Aiken Center, or to the Civic Center in Newcastle to listen to this man speak. He ran into some addiction, alcohol, drug issues in his playing career. He was an Ontario boy that played for the Boston Bruins. So any hockey fan sees Bobby Orr diving through the air after scoring the Stanley Cup winning goal. I think it was 1970 or 72, whatever year that was, that Boston won those 2 cups. And if you listen to the goal from the announcer, you'll hear that this guy's name, Sanderson. Sanderson passed the puck to Bobby Orr. It was a 4-game sweep. But here he is talking. He traveled all across the country. He was talking to students about his addictions. And he was putting himself out there. He was trying to do something good and to try to help people from preventing them from making the same mistakes.
All right there.
Yep. Sanderson warns youths about drug and alcohol abuse. Former Boston Bruins hockey great Derek Sanderson visited the Miramichi Thursday and Friday to warn high school students about the perils of drug and alcohol abuse and where abuse can lead to. The National Hockey League great turned lecturer recounted his own tragic experiences with drugs and alcohol to emphasize the seriousness of drug and alcohol abuse. And you know what? It's kind of a courageous thing when you put yourself out there and you face your demons. And, you know, good for Derek Sanderson. I know he was sleeping on park benches, and I know he left the NHL. He was one of the first people to go to, like, the WHA as a big contract, and it was flop city. He wasn't ready. That's when he was in his addictions and stuff like that. But Boston, they love him. If you're in any city and you're a part of 2 Stanley Cups, the fans will always remember you.
So we got a haying season. Haying and
right on.
napping.
Oh, wow.
And
look at what this historian is saving for us. Look how wide this newspaper is. This is from the July 29th, 1987 edition, the Miramichi Leader, and it's harvest time. And it's, look at this. We come from a small town, rural northern New Brunswick, and right where we sit right now, if I point my finger that way and you walk through the woods for 45 minutes, you're into Nappin. It's farm country. We just covered the Thompsons, and we have Mark Dick. He boosts a bundle up on top of the load. Mark Dick and Pat Holland. Oh, Pat Holland, I think this is when he was a kid. I think he's a Logieville boy now. Load the wagon. The hay is raked in rows waiting to be baled. John McDermott headed in with a load. Paul Bourdage loads hay onto the conveyor. And you know what? These are things that we take for granted, okay? You know, oftentimes we'll drive by anything, and we just, oh shit, there's a bunch of hail bays, and nobody really, most people have no clue what the process is, what it's like to do it. You have to have some strength to do this job. It's usually in the hottest day because they want the hay to dry. And I know there's a famous photo of a former NHLer, Bobby Hull. He worked on a farm, and he has his shirt off, and it's showing him lifting bales of hay, and he is jacked, let me tell you. And Raj, that's great to share this. Wow. And then, okay, so Paul Bourdage loads hay onto a conveyor. That guy, that's a conveyor. It's kind of going up on an angle, and it saves a lot of manpower. But I remember when Raj was doing his porch, which was probably 2006 or something like that. Yeah. And Raj designed, he was working out there, and he designed a porch off of his house. And I was around at that time. I was back from Korea, and I had some time on my hands, so I was helping Raj every day. Basically, we put it off for 2 weeks because we just planned it. We were sitting out on the front there drinking beer, planning it. But anyway, the point being, so when we got to the roof, Raj was able to source a little conveyor. And we were able to get the shingles up on the roof, and we did his garage at that time too, and we were able to get the shingles up on the roof with a hail conveyor.
So we got that from my brother-in-law, David Savoy.
Oh, David Savoy.
He used to put hay up into his barn loft.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's where you got that from.
Yeah.
Oh, right on. And I remember it worked great, and, you know, it saved a lot of... That's why Roger, at 75 years old, is still out dancing every weekend, because he wasn't wasting his energy lifting shingles up onto roofs with a ladder.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Just to reminisce back to the generating station.
Oh, yeah. Remember we showed you the pictures of that generating station? Well, the only reason we're showing this photo is because of this gentleman right here. His name is Alan Duguay, and he was the neighbor to this direction of Roger. He was a kid in the neighborhood growing up, and that's him working right there. He's probably talking to his mother, Edith, telling her what time he's going to be home for dinner at.
Okay, this is a story across the river from Chatham on Ferry Road.
Oh, wow. Ferry Road. John and Muriel Thompson share the joy. Here's another community story. Ferry Road, across the river from Logieville.
Or Chatham.
Across the river from Chatham, sorry. And this is a couple right here. I think I recognize this store.
Oh, yes.
So 1987, in 1968, pop was 12 cents, and it says imagine. So that's a couple right here. Last month marked the end of an era for John and Muriel Thompson of Ferry Road, but they have no regrets, only fond memories. So they ran a community store since for however many years. I don't want to skim through because we're getting, for nearly 20 years they had a store, and in 1987 it came to an end. I remember, I think the location, it was right close to the street, right on the road, right?
Right there, yeah.
Right there, and I'm surprised the transport didn't drive through that one.
Well, that street was the street that took the traffic from the other side of the river to the ferry.
Okay, so that store would have been an important little
Ferry Road.
Yeah. So the Ferry Road going down to the river, that's before the bridge was there. This store would have been a busy place. And I know the importance of these little community convenience stores, because one of my big projects in Vancouver was about a decade ago. I partnered up with a lady that had a convenience store, and we stripped it out and took a traditional convenience store and flipped it into the opposite. We made it into this beautiful organic cafe, and that's one of my my proud projects in my Vancouver life.
Well, this is a project that was done by Kathy Kernahan.
Okay.
Yeah, the way she set that up, the whole picture was all set up.
Okay. Roger is just bringing to my attention, these are things that I'm missing. The author and the reporter on this was Kathy Kernahan. And she was, I always remember her name reading the newspaper as a kid, and she was a great reporter for many years, yeah?
Oh, that's
yeah. Right on. So thank you, Kathy, for your great work in reporting locally for many years.
Yeah. Now this should be our last item.
And
here.
now we're wrapping it up with
the color red.
The color red. So we'll just give a quick one. So
the back page is also red.
Okay. So in 1987, this is from the October 14th, so we're coming on close to the end of the year in 1987. It was a New Brunswick provincial election, and a local boy, right here, Frank McKenna. I think New Brunswick had 51 or 52 seats. McKenna's walk of life tramples Tories. Richard Hatfield acknowledges defeat Tuesday night. Well, he had to acknowledge it because he didn't win one seat. So Premier Richard Hatfield's 17-year hold on New Brunswick voters ended with an unprecedented finality Tuesday as the Liberals under Frank McKenna swept all 58 seats for the most lopsided electoral victory in Canadian history. There's a young Frank McKenna. I remember hanging out with his son Jamie a little bit in the late 80s around this time. And Raj just has informed me the back page is full of Frank McKenna's Liberal Red. And there's some photos from that sweep in 1987. I remember watching that. Everybody was glued to their televisions. And, you know, 17 years, nobody's going to last forever, so there's always going to be a change. But to have it to be the most lopsided victory, so who do we have here, Raj? Hubert Siemens addresses the party workers in Riverview. So, okay, so Riverview, Memorand, Cook, Liberal, Greg O'Donnell, Jim Lockyer of Moncton West, Hollis Steeves, he was out of Petitcodiac, and we have Harold Terrace, he was from Albert County, and then Frank McKenna. So that was a historic provincial election, 1987. Local boy Frank McKenna, Premier of New Brunswick, swept all 58 seats.
I don't think they've seen the caption here.
Okay, and the headline says, Grits pitch a shutout. Hatfield among fallen Tories. So there you go, folks. We're going to end her right there, 1987. Thanks again. And, you know, for those of you guys that are watching, I know you guys, I've repeated this, but Raj and I are doing this for ourselves. Nephew, uncle, intergenerational project. We're hanging out with each other. We're honoring Roger's documentation. I'm home from Vancouver for a few months following the passing of my father. I am looking for a studio space here. I do sculpture work. And if anybody out there knows somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody that has like an old barn or a sizable shed or a space in the community that they think a guy like me could put to good use, I am looking for a studio space and I'm not having that much luck, so I just put it out there and maybe somebody can assist in that. So thank you very much. Raj, thanks again for your documentation. You're going dancing tonight?
Oh yeah.
Where's the dance tonight?
Oh, the Knights of Columbus, Chatham.
Knights of Columbus and Chatham. So what kind of a group? Like, what is a dance? Like, for a guy like me that doesn't know what's going on at a dance at the Knights of Columbus, you guys get in there. What time does it start at?
Well, we go in around 7 o'clock, open the doors, and music starts at 8. Okay. And it's all over at 11.
So from 8, so basically from 7 to 11, and I'm assuming, you know, of course there's like an open bar. Is there any food and stuff like that?
Yeah, there's a snack.
Little snack bar. And what kind of a group of people, like what's the numbers usually? Like what would you estimate?
Oh, up there they do really good. It could be up to between 60 and 80. 60
and 80 people, and is it like live music or is it like a DJ?
Oh, it's a one-man show.
Oh yeah?
Claude Gallant.
Claude Gallant?
Sings the whole dance. And,
oh yeah?
He's really, really good.
Oh,
and
right
everything he sings is danceable.
Oh, right on. So what kind of an age group, you know? Like,
well,
is
there's a lot of us in the 70s.
Oh, yeah?
And 60s.
Right on.
Yeah.
And you know what? People from my generation can actually take a lesson from that, too, because getting out and going to a dance and, you know, having it as a physical reality with a partner, you're touching each other, people are moving around the floor, you're not only getting physical exercise, you're listening to music, it's releasing energy, it's just a stress release, and it's very healthy and good for you and your chums up there, Raj, they're doing that.
Yeah, because I get more use out of my shoes that I graduated in 1966.
You're still wearing your shoes from 66?
1966, yeah. They're only 57 years old.
Right on. So if you guys pay attention to our little project here, you will see we're going to be unlocking some documentation of Raj's earlier dancing years and career. Hopefully, I don't know. I might be bullshitting you. I think he's got some stuff there locked up, eh?
Oh,
we'll find it.
That'll be weeks away.
Okay. Thank you guys once again, and we'll check you later.